It is an interesting one when you look at it and look at some of the leaders that were in place during COVID. Most of them are gone. It's almost like it's a reminder of a dark time, an overexposure of politicians. I mean, obviously, Dan Andrews is still there in Victoria, Anastasia Palaszczuk in Queensland. But they're the last two standing, really.
They are. Morrison's gone, Western Australia, South Australia, New South Wales. You're right. A number of their exits were unrelated to COVID, but overall I agree that they were overexposed.
Yeah. Josh Frydenberg, elevation at Goldman Sachs. Does that mean he's out of play?
Yes.
Or does this mean he'll go off for a year and come back?
No, he's out of play, at least for the near future, which is a great loss to public life in Australia, because like or not the Liberal Party, he's one of the shining stars. He's dedicated, he's competent, he's got personality. The Liberals in Victoria will be very disappointed because he could win a seat in Melbourne, not necessarily his old seat, but he'd certainly win another one. But 18 months being forced out of public life, he's discovered his family life, a business career. It reminds me very much of the loss of Peter Costello under almost identical circumstances.
Still very young though, isn't he? In relative terms, 52, politically tuned in.
Yes, but we don't have a tradition of coming back, Tim. Yeah, I agree. He's young and maybe in 4 or 5 years he could come back, but would he want to? Would the party want him? You know, politics is ever evolving and at a fast pace, and once you leave, the assumption is you're yesterday's man.
What about the politics in the US? Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
It was a long, protracted process for him to get the job. And now he's really facing the challenges of this little right-wing, extreme right-wing pocket.
Look, I'm glad you're focusing on it, Tim, because Australian media don't focus on the Congress, which is critical to the economic and political fortunes of the US. So Kevin McCarthy is a Californian Republican, which is already raises suspicions amongst Texans and Florida and Republicans. But he's only got a majority of 12, and there's a hardcore that is ideological, impossible to deal with. The only thing is they force Kevin McCarthy to the brink and have till now supported him, but I wouldn't want his job. Every day he wakes up, his battle is with his rump, not with the Democrats.
Up north, Canadian accusation against India's involvement with the murder of a Sikh nationalist in Vancouver. This is a huge story, really.
Oh, huge story, Tim. This is very worrying. Canada, in effect, is accusing India of state-sponsored murder because a leading Sikh dissident has been murdered in Vancouver, and the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has said that there is creditable intelligence that India may have been involved. Now, how's that for a heavily qualified accusation? So if he's not 100% sure that it's the Indian Secret Service, then he should not even be raising it. India is critical to the West's security and economic interests. And it's going to drag the US and Australia, who are close allies through the Quad of India. So we can't support any country that would murder its citizens in a friendly country, but it's far from a proven accusation at this stage. We don't know, we may never know, but Justin Trudeau had better be handling this with great aplomb.
Finally, staying international and another huge country, China, of course. We're running a story this morning saying that things could have eased around wine, and this is huge for Australian winemakers who, for so long, were sending their wine to China and then the door was shut.
Oh, they were devastated, Tim. Of all of the commodities, it was wine that was smashed. Coal, barley, and some of the other commodities, lobsters, they did find alternate markets. Now, but wine just was lost 2/3 of their sales around the world overnight, and it was hard to find an alternate market for Australian wines because it takes many, many years to build up a reputation in Europe or in Asia or North America. They'll be very careful about going in. They're not going to. No one will sacrifice the alternate market they've developed. It is good news. It is typical China as a face saver to dribble out this news. It sounds as if it's going to happen. which is great news for Australian wine producers, but it's not going to be a gold rush. It'll be a slow restoration of their market interests.
Yeah, a positive step though, hopefully, for all those hard working in the industry, because it does employ a lot of people in this country. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tim.